Hey everyone, Marnix here. We're at Unity Unite, and we figured, hey, we'd bring you guys along because this is one of those very business events, like even more than a Gamescom, where most of you guys won't have the opportunity to come, and honestly, most of you shouldn't even come, as far as I can tell immediately. So the goal of this video is to talk a bit more about how do these events work, what is Unity announcing as well, we'll throw in that as well, and then I'll also give just some of my own opinions about what is Unity doing. Should you go and spend the money on these trips? Because for us it's still quite cheap, but maybe for you it could be worth it, for maybe it wouldn't. So stick around till the end for that. And we'll just talk to you about how does one of these professional events work? Like, what are the things that are different compared to, a regular gaming show? We're gonna go to the keynote now, and then I'll go and talk to you a bit more about what Unity has announced, and we'll get back to you then. We just came back from the keynote, which is basically the big opening ceremony that's being done at these kinds of events, where they talk about the high-level things, what are they changing, showcasing the newest, coolest stuff. And I think Unity does have a few new cool things. A big one, of course, is their announcement of Unity 6. They're getting away from the 2022-2023 announcements. Some other things they announced there was very big performance improvements, for example, that you don't really have to do that much for. Also, kind of some ray tracing, or not really ray tracing, but AI features for better performance. And speaking of AI, that's probably what they spent most of the time on, just talking about their new Muse software, their new cloud software, basically everything that is live services and AI. I think at least half of the conference went about that, or half the keynote. And I think that's also one of the main problems that I feel here, because we've been walking around here for a few hours. This is not an indie event. A lot of the people you see here are from industry or XR developers, or they're making hyper casual mobile games, but not really the stuff that you guys are interested in. And I could sense as well that, Unity has kind of left that indie scene behind a bit, and it felt like that also with the keynote. I'm gonna be walking around here today still and talking to more people. Also, the audience generally quite older, quite more boring isn't the right word, but it's very much more professional here and less of the, the very quirky indie spirit. So now the keynote is done. In a few hours, the talks are gonna start, and we have lunch first because lunch is very important. But I also want to take you next to there's the hub area where you have all of the different sponsors and things like that, where you can learn a bit more about them. So let's go and take a look there now, and I'll talk to you a bit more then. All right, so one other very big thing that events like this have is, okay, you have your talks and you have your keynote, but there is this communal area, which is called the hub here, where you have all of these different little booths of, for example, the Asset Store or Niantic or other sponsors. JetBrains is here as well, where they're all day basically showcasing certain tools that they're making. Now, once again, something I've noticed here is really big focus, for example, Xsola and some other people focus really on in-app monetization, things like that. So there's a pretty big mix. You also have some other breakouts where you can, if you have a Unity problem, you can go to talk to the actual Unity developers and be hey, why is this thing not working? So this is also a pretty good chill spot. There's also a lot of chairs and calmer areas in here where you can just chill between the sessions as well. Also good food, good drinks. So this is something that you find on these business events as well. Just general informational booths that are permanently available. By now we've gone through the keynote, we've gone through the roadmap, we've gone through another AI talk, and now we also have the physics 2D one. So there were 4 talks in total that we went to. The scheduling was a bit weird here, so not all the talks we could go to, and some of them were already fully booked basically from the moment we got the email of hey, you can schedule your talk. So honestly, the ones that we've been to, they're okay, but they weren't exactly fitting for us. But generally, one of the advantages is that the talks you take here, they're often things you wouldn't do normally. I can always learn about programming, or I can find a roadmap, but something like AI, or another one is physics in 2D games is here something where it's someone from the actual business unit who explains more to you, and it's it just gives you some more information about something you don't really know that much about. Same with Riot here. So I think talk-wise, generally you can be all right with these kinds of events. When we've gone to other events as well, just having some good talks can really make or break a event. If you have a event that doesn't have any good talks, honestly, we've been to some, it's just kind of disappointing. But this one is all right. So keep in mind, if you go to events like these, like the pure business ones, spend some time in planning the different talks you're going to, just to make the most out of it. So, we just finished our last talk, which brings us to the great question. Was it worth coming here? Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think if you're an indie developer, you should go to Unite. Not this year, not next year probably, because as I said, Unity doesn't care about us that much anymore. That's my feeling. We are not in the insider program, so I can say these things. Thomas is like giving me very questionable looks right now, but this ticket was 400 euros for one person. It was still all right for us because, you know, we just have to drive from Belgium. But if you had to take flights, you have to take hotels, it adds up really quickly. And honestly, there's not that much value for you here as an indie developer. Sure, you have some networking, but all of the networking events here are for like bigger XR companies or for like live ops companies. Indies, there's not that much that has been announced here. That's not that much that has the focus here. So I don't feel like it's really worth it. There's also no celebration of indies even. All the games that are being showcased by Unity are like from at least double indie studios with like made with Unity funding, or are like hyper casual games, which is pretty much everything that I am against. I don't know if we'll be coming back here next year. Maybe we have to do it just because it's our job as like game developers and like influencers, but we're not gonna be coming here. I don't think if you're taking your indie development serious, it's worth coming here. There's much better events. Go to Gamescom instead. You'll get much more value out of it, and it will actually be cheaper. Anyways, that's all I really had to say. Now I hope you got a bit more of an insight of how these events work. If you're new around here, we're game developers. We've made our own indie game. We're working on our next game, and we just bring you along, and we're very open about how is it being an indie studio. So if that's something that interests you, be sure to head down below and subscribe, as you get these videos 3 times a week. That's all I had to say. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.